You ever hit the point where everything just breaks? Like your family's falling apart, you got no money, no direction, and worst of all, you don't even trust yourself to fix it. Yeah, that was me. But really, that was the beginning of everything. I'm going to show you why hitting the rock bottom might be the best thing that ever happened to you. Because what most success gurus don't tell you is sometimes you need to fall apart completely to rebuild something real. It wasn't one dramatic moment, it was death by thousand cuts. Family dinners became battlefield of silence, punctuated by explosive arguments. Words that should have been said years ago stayed buried underneath, festering. My bank account wasn't just low, it was a constant reminder of every bad decisions I had made. Each notification was another punch to the gut. But here's what completely broke me. I couldn't trust myself anymore. I would make these grand promises only to break them by noon. I'll wake up at 5 a.m., then I'll hit snooze like 10 times in the morning. No more distraction, and then I would spend hours on YouTube rabbit hole. I wasn't just failing at life, I was failing at being the person I had promised myself I would be. There is this dangerous line between rest and escape, and I crossed it without even noticing. What started as I just need more time morphed into a disconnection. My friends would text, I would ghost them. My family would call, I would make different excuses not to talk. My bed became both sanctuary and my prison. I would wake up, scroll mindlessly, and silence that nagging voice. You should do something with your life. The scariest part, I started believing I wasn't built for anything more. That mediocrity was my ceiling, not my floor. But here's the truth, hitting that rock bottom didn't destroy me, it actually introduced me to my real self. The moment wasn't cinematic. No dramatic music, no sudden epiphany after a motivational speech. It was just me, alone with my journal, letting raw thoughts spill onto the page. And then these words appeared. You're not lazy, you're scared, and you're tired of disappointing yourself. Something cracked open inside of me because underneath all the shame and avoidance was this simple truth. I wasn't broken, I was just exhausted from betraying myself every single day. And that realization wasn't the end, it was the beginning. The next morning wasn't dramatic. I didn't change overnight. I just made my bed and at least got out of bed quicker. That's it. One tiny promise kept. Then I added journaling. Then walk, even a 10-minute walk. Then a healthy meal. Day by day, promise by promise, every day, I rebuild this relationship with myself. Each small commitment wasn't just a task checked off, it was evidence that maybe, just maybe, I could trust myself again. And these weren't grand gestures, they were whispers of integrity. And slowly, those whispers became the loudest voice in my head. Let me shatter a myth. Healing isn't aesthetic, it isn't photogenic. Real growth doesn't happen in those crazy montages that you see on YouTube or wherever. It happens in moments no one sees. When you choose discomfort over distraction, when you tell yourself the truth instead of what you want to hear, when you face who you actually are and not pretend to be. The real glow up isn't external, It's the moment you stop running from yourself. Healing isn't pretty, but it's the most honest work you will ever do. I promise. After months of rebuilding, I realized I had something that I had never had before. A voice that felt authentic. Not perfect, but true. True to myself, true to me, true to my feelings. So I did something terrifying. I started this channel. It was crazy. I was terrified when I recorded that first video. You can still go and check. Not as someone who had it all figured out, but as someone documenting the messy middle of rebuilding a life. Because if I felt this lost, this ashamed, this stuck, others might feel it too, right? And maybe sharing my darkness could help others find their way through the darkness. Just want to help. That's it. Everything I learned through this process are crystallized into 5 principles. The break framework. Be brutally honest. Stop sugarcoating your reality. Name where you are without judgment or any excuses. Remove the noise. Cut the distraction that numb you. Social media, toxic relationships, and your own internal BS. Embrace the boring. Real transformation happens in monotony. It's showing up when the motivation is gone. Because trust me, it's not gonna be there forever. Accept full responsibility. Your life is 100% yours to build. No one is coming to save you. And that's your power. Keep moving forward. Progress isn't linear. The slowest days are often the most important ones. This framework didn't save me overnight, but it did give me a direction when I had none. So, if you're in your flop era, or I think that's what it's called, good. Stay there a minute. Stay there a moment longer. Learn the lesson. Burn the ego. Because that darkness that you're in is not your tomb, but it's the womb of who you're becoming. It is not your ending. It is your origin story. Let this be the version of you that refuses to stay broken. The version who says, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not giving up. And this video isn't the end. It's an invitation to start your own rebuild. Like I said, to say, I'm not where I want to be, but I am not going to give up. So that was it for today. What's the hardest lesson failure has taught you recently? Drop it in the comments. Let's turn our L's into lessons together. Hit subscribe if you're ready to listen about real growth. No toxic positivity, no overnight success, just honest conversations from rising above the ashes. Leave a like if you've ever had to rebuild yourself from scratch. This channel isn't about the perfection, it's about progress through the mess. And remember, sometimes you have to completely fall apart before you become who you're meant to be. And that journey, it starts now.